Hey everybody, Grumbles here with some more War Thunder historic battle footage. So, it has been about a month now that I started playing historic battles, and so far I have mostly concentrated on improving at the basics, like getting a feel for the style characteristic of most planes and the ballistics of different weapons. And I think I reached a reasonable level on those things. Now I am of course nowhere near done improving at those basic aspects of the flight mechanics, and I don't think I ever will be. There is always room for improvement. I hope I can soon look into a few more advanced maneuvers now though, and relearn a few of the tricks that I once was able to pull off. Now in this video I have just a little Ki-61 footage, and also I finally bought the Focke-Wulf 190, so I can show you a few of my first matches in the Butcher Bird. Flying a plane like the Focke-Wulf 190 is somewhat new to me, since I usually fly planes that have a much lower wing loading. The high wing loading is something I had to get used to, as you will see. But first let's take a quick look at the Ki-61. This was one of my favorite planes in AB mode, and I plan on flying it a lot more in historic battles in the future, because I think it is a good plane to practice turn fighting. It is a great turner, but also not too good. The Zero, for example, while a really fun plane to fly, is such an unmatched turn fighter that I think a lot of the things you learn flying it don't port over well to other planes, even other turn fighters like the Ki-61. Here we have a small match on Iwo Jima. Most of the enemy team is attacking the AI Val bombers, but two Airacobras go for a friendly Ki-45, and me and the second Yen are on our way to help out. The advantage of flying a good turner in a situation like this is that you don't have to be concerned about getting an altitude or energy advantage before you attack, if you know you can simply outturn your opponent. Now I plan to go for the closer B-39 first, but it doesn't give me a good shot, and I move on to the second one. I don't get quite the necessary lead to fire, and in another plane I would have just continued straight and gained separation to come back with an energy advantage. But since I am in a good turner, and I want to turn fight in this case, I can go right after the Airacobra. I get a few more hits in, but eventually the Cobra dives away. I could follow the Cobra in a dive. The Ki-61 has a great dive acceleration. You have to be careful though. The plane reaches the speed on which hard maneuvering will break wings very soon. So keep an eye on the indicated airspeeds when diving in the Hien. In this case I don't want to follow the B-39 down, because I know there are still other fighters nearby on higher altitude attacking the AI Vals, and I want to deal with them first. Now, one thing I want to say about turn fighting. When you fly serious, you better avoid it whenever possible. As much as I like a good dogfight, it cannot be denied that it wastes a lot of energy and leaves you open for attack from the outside, and often reduces your situational awareness if you are too focused on turning with another plane. However, I simply like going a less serious dogfight approach every now and then, simply because it's fun, and as I have said already, to improve my skills in it. Because even if you want to avoid turn fighting, things don't always go according to plan, and you may be forced to turn if you want to or not, and then it is good to have some experience with it. This is where the low repair cost of the Ki-61 comes in handy. It makes a less careful approach more viable. Now here we have an example for how easy it is to lose track of the situation while focusing on one target. I attack the Hellcat and I know there's a P-40 and a P-39 nearby. I can keep tabs on the P-40 on the minimap, but I lose track of the P-39. After my initial attack, I have to pull out very careful to avoid breaking a wing. As I've said already, the Ki-61 reaches the point where this can happen very fast. Now, coming around for another pass on the Hellcat, I can still every now and then catch a glimpse of the P-40 in the distance, so I know he's not close, and since all my teammates appear to be attacking the F6F as well, I assume the P-39 has been taken care of. An almost fatal mistake, as the P-39 was approaching from behind, and I noticed it only at the very last moment. Oversights like this are more likely when turn fighting compared to other styles like boom and zoom, where you're usually able to keep better track of the big picture. Despite all that, I enjoy flying pure turnfight style every now and then, and I will have more footage of dogfighting in the Ki-61 in the future. But for now, let's take a look at the Focke-Wulf 190. I just recently bought the 190, even though I had it unlocked for a while now. The reason is that I usually fly fighters with lower wing loading. Even the fighters I fly with the boom and zoom style, like the P-40 or the MC-202, have a somewhat decent wing loading and turn well if necessary. So flying a fighter with such a high wing loading is somewhat new to me, and I have to adjust a few flying techniques. For example, I like to approach a target in leg pursuit and then pull up sharply into a lead pursuit to fire in the last moment. That requires a lower wing loading though. Despite my inexperience with the plane's layout though, I found the fighter to be highly effective. A great boom and zoom plane with outstanding dive performance and roll rate, good speed, heavy armament, which consists of 2 machine guns in the engine cowling and 2 20mm cannons in the wing roots. The high wing loading of course means there are few planes you can turn with. However, the good roll rate can be used to good effect in scissors, for example, to evade attacks. That is something that I still have to improve upon. Flying good scissors with the 190 is an important ability in this plane, which is required to fully utilize its good roll rate. Well, let's take a look at a few engagements. This is one of my first missions in the 190 and we are on the map Kuban. I initially spotted a LA-5 at lower altitude and 2 LA-7s that are higher than me. So I reverse course and gain a bit of separation from the LA-7s to give me a chance to climb to a higher altitude. That is not necessary however, both of them dive after a 109 and end up pretty low. I see a second 109 go for one of the LA-7s, so I pick the other one as my target, and he presents me with a very good shot. However, here my inexperience with the plane's high wing loading shows, and I place the crosshair initially too low and can't pull hard enough to get enough lead for hits. Always a pity to waste an opportunity like this, but it happens. I come around for a second pass, and it looks like the two 109s now go for the LA-7 I attacked. So I switch targets to the other one. Always try to go for the plane that is not currently under pressure. I don't get a good opportunity for a shot and I have to go up again. Now however the LA-7 is following a 109 in a straight line and I can drop behind him. Similar to the 109, I feel the 190 is a bit unstable when aiming at targets straight in front of you. Pulling some positive G helps a lot to stabilize. I have to play around with the elevator trim a bit more though. A better trim should also help with this problem. Now, this LA-7 is destroyed, but the 109 is damaged and returning to base. That leaves the second LA-7 and the LA-5 that are currently engaged with two 109s, and I come back to assist. As always, I want to go for the enemy plane that currently has the most potential of threatening a teammate. So I keep an eye on the fight while approaching to see which 109 appears to need the help more urgent. The LA-5 seems to get the upper hand, so I go for him first. Another 109 coming into the fight from higher altitude does the same. If I had known he would choose the LA-5 as target, I would have attacked the LA-7 first instead. But you don't always have the necessary communication for this in public teams. So you have to keep an eye on your team and react as much to what your teammates are doing than to what your opponent is doing. That is all part of keeping your situational awareness up. I get some good hits on my second pass, but the LA-5 is still in the fight. I think about going for a third pass on it, but a call from a teammate fighting the LA-7 reminds me that the LA-7 is currently not under pressure. So I stop my attack on the LA-5 and go for the LA-7. I fly above it and come down in a split S to attack. The high 109 heard the call as well and also attacked the LA-7, but we are a few seconds too late. That was a mistake in situational awareness. I should have switched from the LA-5 to the LA-7 sooner, and I could have saved this 109. But with the second LA-7 dealt with and the damaged LA-5 following shortly after, this fight is over. Let's take a look at another one on Bulge. There is a nice high altitude brawl in progress, and I am attacking a Spitfire. I have learned from my mistakes from the previous round, and on this deflection shot I placed the crosshair far enough in front of the Spit that the high wing loading is no problem. Now, the large formation of AI P-17s you encounter on this map is right below me, and most of the friendly heavy fighters and a few single-engine fighters are attacking the heavy bombers. It is tempting to dive into the fray and get a few P-17 kills, but there are still enemy fighters unaccounted for, so I prefer to stay above the formation and provide top cover in case someone goes for the planes attacking the bombers. When flying the Allies, I got a few 190 kills after surprising them when they attacked the P-17s, and I would like to avoid experiencing this from the other side. And indeed a Spitfire shows up, about to attack the heavy fighters. I hope he has not noticed me and I can get above him, but he did notice me and he is coming for a head-on. I put the nose down a bit to gain speed and then turn into him a bit to throw his aim off and continue straight. I know he can't follow me if he wastes energy in a turn, and if he goes for someone else like he does, I can come around for an attack. The Spit goes for a Do 217 heavy fighter, and after a pass goes vertical. Thanks to the 190's powerful engine, I can catch up to him pretty easily. I still don't like firing without pulling some cheese a lot though, and my trim isn't great for the situation. So I roll inverted so that I can attack from above while pulling a few G's to steady my aim. The 190's roller rate makes it a great plane for a move like that. Well, that were some of my first Focke-Wulf 190 fights, and that is it for this video. I hope I have some more 190 footage in future videos. Till then, I hope it was entertaining, thanks for watching, and maybe I see you next time.